Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about what everybody is talking about today, and that is, of course, the Sony FX5. Now, before we get into it, this is an opinion video based on videos I've watched. I don't have the camera. Sony didn't send me the camera. I don't think my channel is near big enough. I do know a couple people at Sony, but they're playing this one pretty close to the chest. So I don't think I'll be able to properly test it until the production units are out. When that happens, I will definitely be testing it and posting a review on this channel. But until then, I am hopping on the bandwagon. So although my channel is not yet big enough, and I'm not one of the lucky YouTubers that got an FX5, I would take a somewhat educated guess that I'm probably one of the only YouTubers out here that has shot 3 feature films, has worked with DPs like Bradford Young and Natasha Breer, have gotten some flowers for my work from directors like Sean Baker, as well as worked on big sets like Euphoria. That is not to pat myself on the back. Every time I see any of my work, all I see are mistakes. I kind of think I suck, but other people that I really respect seem to like my work. And I have been doing this for over 10 years and have used a bunch of different cameras, pretty much any one you can think of. So although this video is only my opinion on what we've seen so far, I believe my opinion at least comes from a pretty experienced and educated place. So first and foremost, we can at least finally answer the question of whether or not a camera is an FX3 killer. This one definitely is. It's literally an upgraded FX3. It is better and stronger in every single way. So I've mentioned on the channel before, I don't get too excited about cameras anymore. But as you guys can tell by sifting through my content, the Nikon ZR kind of broke that streak for me. It was a pretty surprising camera and it has turned out to be very impressive. Now the FX5 is a little different. The original FX3 is already a very impressive camera. I just personally think that it's dated and it is way too expensive. When cameras like the Nikon ZR now exist, I don't really see a reason for an FX3. In enters the FX5. Now we got some competition. So running through the specs, the FX5 is very impressive. 5K I think is a perfect resolution. That gives you a really large pixel that improves things like dynamic range and low light performance. And from what we've seen so far, that seems to be the case with the FX5. On my end, no one has ever asked for a deliverable more than 4K, at least not yet. So I'm good with 5K resolution. We won't talk about image stabilization and autofocus because Sony's been really good at that for years now. So I imagine it is very good in this camera. But I think for obvious reasons, 2 features really stand out, and that is the 3.2 open gate and the internal RAW recording. Now I really like the way Sony handles RAW. It is a 16-bit linear RAW codec. Now, I'm not an engineer, but I believe this is similar to the way Alexa and Red handle their 16-bit RAW codecs. You're capturing a full 16-bit RAW image and kind of jamming it into a 12-bit container. I could be wrong, but that's how I understand it. And that proves for extremely flexible results in post-production. So the fact we have different flavors of an internal RAW codec in the Sony FX5 is amazing. And they are very data friendly, which in this day and age matters because storage is f***ing expensive, thanks AI. And of course, the 3.2 open gate. They are finally giving us features from their high-end cinema cameras like the Venice and the Venice 2. So this little FX5 packs a very strong punch. And at $5,000, I honestly think that's pretty reasonably priced. Normally I think Sony cameras are a little overpriced, but for all the features and image quality that this is offering, I think that's a pretty good price. No, it does not have internal NDs, but that's understandable. From what it seems, the technology just isn't there yet to put internal ND in cameras that are this small. But you can use lens adapters that have internal variable ND and kind of solve that problem if you're using PL glass or EF glass. So really the only thing left to talk about is who is this camera for? So obviously this camera is going to be great. Honestly, most cameras that come out now are great. I'm not really worried about that part. It's more so who is this camera for in its price range? And for myself, questioning that same thing. Is this camera for me? I don't really know yet. Let's try and break it down. Some things we can rule out pretty quickly. If you like Canon, this camera's not for you. The Canon C50 exists. That's 7K, open gate, it does all the things. And it does them very well. I actually did a full review on the Canon C50, which you can check out on my channel. But I happen to not like Canon that much, at least not anymore. I really can't put my finger on it. They do have great colors and they do have great specs. The build quality is amazing. There's just something about the motion cadence and the way it handles highlights. I just always thought it kind of looked a little video-ish. But to each their own. The Canon C50 is definitely an amazing camera. So if you like Canon, that's your camera. If you like Sony and you've already been in the Sony ecosystem, this is a no-brainer. So what about people that kind of switch cameras often, like myself? Will the FX5 warrant me switching from my Nikon ZR? That is where the question gets pretty tricky, and that's also why I have not pre-ordered one yet. I really need to get my hands on it and test it so I can see if it's worth it over my Nikon ZR. On paper, I do think it seems worth it. All those compressed internal RAW codecs, the dynamic range, the low light performance, open gate, and just the Sony brand name, it has a lot going for it. As much as it pains me to say this because it should not be true, it helps if you say I shoot on a Sony FX something, mostly in the corporate world and the documentary world. Now, does that actually matter in practice? No, not at all. But when clients hear FX, they tend to think, okay, we're in good hands. Doesn't make sense, but it's true. Now, if the Nikon ZR finally updated the camera a little bit, come on Nikon, we're waiting, then I really wouldn't be thinking about the FX5 that much. There are certain things I think the Nikon ZR can implement, and I'm just waiting to see if they do. Obviously, there's the software things, anamorphic D-squeeze, false color, being able to use certain features while you're recording, and that stuff should already be in here, so I am hoping that those updates come sooner than later. As far as firmware updates, I don't see why an improved H.265 codec is not possible. That should definitely be in this camera, and I have heard that they are working on it. A compressed red RAW codec would be nice, but I am not holding my breath on that one. And some form of open gate would be awesome, whether it's an N-Log or an H.265 codec. Again, I'm not an engineer, but the fact that the ZR can do red RAW and a data rate as high as ProRes RAW leads me to believe that in some codec, in some fashion, it can do a 3.2 open gate recording. If it could do all of those things, I don't think I would touch the FX5. But right now, it can't do any of those things, and that is a bummer. And it does make cameras like the FX5 more attractive. So for me, it's still kind of a wait and see game. I think as far as the image quality, my guess is the ZR and the FX5 come pretty close. I'm only saying that because I just dropped a video where I compared the Nikon ZR directly to the Alexa Mini LF, and in certain scenarios, even those cameras come close. And the ZR is like 1/30th of the price. Now obviously the Mini LF is a better camera with a better image, but if you know what you're doing, you can get the ZR to behave pretty similar. I think in highlights, the ZR and the FX5 will probably be pretty comparable, but from what I've seen, the FX5 will kill the ZR in the shadows. And that's kind of a big deal because I like to play in the shadows. I love me a moody image. And the ZR, you do need to finesse it more so you're not getting too much noise in those shadows. And then there's people that might be in the market for more of a cinema camera style body. That's sort of just a different beast altogether. So if you look at the pricing, although it's tempting to compare something like an FX5 to a Pixis 12K, they are kind of two completely different workflows just because the bodies are so different. If you're on sets where you need SDI, you need bigger rigs, you need that kind of cinema camera body, the FX5 just probably isn't for you. In that scenario, I would go with something like the Pixis 12K, which was probably one of my favorite cameras that I used last year. That thing packs an amazing punch for something that's around $5 grand. But if you're at a place in your career where you enjoy these smaller camera bodies, kind of like me, then yeah, the FX5 is a really nice option. But there is one thing that the Nikon ZR and a lot of mirrorless smaller camera bodies do way better than the FX5. Take pictures. At least from what I saw today, the FX5 has no photo capabilities. That's totally fine, it's not a deal breaker, but that is one of the reasons I love cameras like the ZR. In a pinch, I can take really nice photos. Whether the client wants both photo and video, which actually happens pretty often, or if I'm on a location scout or a tech scout, it's really handy to take photos, especially with the camera you may be even using on the shoot, or something similar, in this case like another RED camera. So if I did go for the FX5, I would need a dedicated stills camera. That's pretty normal, there's nothing wrong with that, but it is just more to carry, more to pack, more to think about. I do love that on the ZR I can just switch over to photo mode and start taking pictures. So those are my initial thoughts on the FX5. It is a very exciting camera. I imagine some amazing content will come out of it, and I definitely will be doing a full review. So if there's anything you want me to specifically test, please let me know and I'll make sure it happens. Until then, I do have a lot of really cool content that should be coming out within the next month, so look out for that, and I'll see you on the next one. Later, camera nerds.